Hi, it's Paula from Pola Quilting. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my new sewing space and my craft space. Some of you are aware, if you're following me on Instagram or Facebook page, that I've recently moved the house, and as you can see from looking around, it's, well, not that messy as it was a few weeks back. I was working hard to put everything on the shelves. But to be honest, probably I don't know where the half things are, so I'm gonna have to take it out soon and kind of actually sort it. But machine is out and I am ready to go back to sewing, which is what I really missed during the renovation of this house, which took us a few months. And once I get myself sorted a little bit more, I will share with you what my new place looks like in detail and what I'm using here to sort stuff and keep stuffs and things like that. In today's video, I would like to provide you with more details about the titanium blades. I have been testing since end of November, and they were sent to me by Ricardo from the Fabrichut, based in USA. I have put all the necessary links in the description for you to have a look at those. So to be honest, I have been so far using very cheap blades, being fully aware of it that it's kind of false economy. Cheap blade only serves me well for duration of project or two, and then I would start struggling with my cuts. Now, to get a little bit more out of the blade, I've been advised to flip it around, which I was doing as well. So then again, I had another maybe project or two, and then I was struggling again. So it would often mean that my fabric was not cut as precise as I would like to be, and at that point, you know, when you're seeing those differences, I was just changing the blade. And you know, with amount of sewing and other projects I'm completing, a box of 10 cheap blades lasted me maybe 2-3 months, and that's including those struggling periods in between when I was trying to get that blade, you know, to the very end. Now, instead of telling you how I felt using those new titanium blades, let me just show you what I have completed since I put that blade in my cutter. I received blades end of November, and this came just in time to cut all the fabrics for blocks from tutorial Magic Numbers pattern 4. There were lots of wavy cuts there, and it was great to use brand new blade to work on those. Next, I work on completing my latest pattern I published on my website, which is Magic Numbers Pattern 5, and that included blocks made from the Magic Numbers 4. And in this video, I covered star blocks and all other cuts needed to complete the project. I also used the blade to square up the quilt and prepare the binding. This quilt was donated to Project Linus for the Christmas. Then there was a Magic Numbers pattern 6 with extra large churn dash blocks. There was a lot of straight cuts there to complete 8 of those blocks. Those are huge blocks, so there was quite a lot of cutting there too. Then we have Magic Numbers pattern 7, which was very fun variation of potato chip block. I covered in Super Scrap Buster number 50. This time I introduce waves, and if you do anything curvy, you want to have a good blade for this. After that last tutorial, I was saving scraps and I was focusing on finishing projects to get them out of the house, so there is less packing when we were planning to move the house. I have worked on some cushion made from crumbs, so crumbs obviously require quite a lot of trimming. I completed squaring up and binding a quilt for a friend. It was double-sided quilt, and I really love those colors on this one. I have done large number of adding tape sewing and cut lots of scraps to the length. More information on the adding tape process you can have a look at the Scrap Buster number 3. I made few baskets and cut huge amount of strips from old clothes to make those, which I showed you how to make in tutorial Scrap Buster 43. That also includes this cutting batting to the strips, so lots of cutting there. I squared up and made binding to finish this quilt from tutorial Scrap Buster number 21. I cut lots of small scraps to shape for my next tutorial Magic Numbers pattern 8, and I will be cutting a little bit more a little bit later, which I will show you how that blades perform. And then just before we moved, I've processed 2 large boxes of various scraps and cut them to my usual shapes. I just didn't want to take all of those random stuffs with me. It's easier to have them cut down. And if you like to see, or if you like to know how I cut my scraps for some generic pieces, then you can have a look at the quilting to tips number 1. I squared up and made binding for quilts from tutorial Scrapbuster 56. That was just before we moved. And then sometime just before Christmas, I also used the same blade to cut paper. I was making packages for my handmade soaps. I was making for family and friends as a presents. So I have done it all with one blade, and I didn't even flip to the other side yet. So now I have some more strips to cut for my next project. So let's have a look how that blade performs. I need lots and lots of small rectangles of kids type of fabrics, and as you can see, I've got lots of scraps here which I can easily cut to that size. Probably won't cut bigger stuff, but all of those small bits and pieces will go in. So I will take it to the iron board, iron it all, you know, the one I want to cut, and I will show you how easy it still is using the same rotary blade since the beginning, or how difficult it is. We will see. However, I want to say that it have done so much work already, that one blade, that even if it's starting to be a little bit of dull and I need to change it, I think I wouldn't have a problem with that either. But let me iron the scraps and I will show you how much I can still cut with it. So here is the bunch of scraps I've cut to 2.5 inches wide and 1.5 inches wide strips. I left them at that because I don't know how many more I will need for the project I will be making. And here is a pile of 2.5 by 1.5 inch scraps I've cut for the same project. So as you can see on that quick kind of speed up part, that I have not had whatsoever any issue with cutting it. And here's a basket of offcuts of those scraps as well, so it's not that I just had that nice pile of rectangles, a nice pile of strips. So I've got all of those offcuts which I've put separately, and I will be using them on the adding tape. So a lot of cutting and still with the same blade. So I'm very satisfied with the quality and the amount of work I was able to complete with one blade. With the few I received, I probably don't need to buy anything for a year or so, which actually saves me a lot of money and time as well, and makes my life easier around the cutting table. I would like to thank Ricardo from Fabrichut for reaching out and giving me the opportunity to show those blades. There is a link in the description below to the website, and if you are living in USA, feel free to follow it to buy blades and other quilting supplies. It is affiliated link, so if anytime you purchase something, I might receive some cents from Ricardo. I am now off to cut some more for my next project, and I will see you next time. Thank you for joining, thank you for watching, and see you next time.